Hello and welcome to the Dare to Differentiate show. Whether you're tuning in live or watching the replay, I am so delighted that you're here. If you're here live with me, type in the comment to let me know whether you can hear me or not. I am using a new setup today, so I just want to make sure that you can hear me. Type in hello to let me know where you're tuning in from. I'm so excited to have you here joining me today. Hello, hello. Thank you so much there. I was just running a few minutes late because of some mic setup issues. If you can hear me, type in the comment to let me know whether you can hear me live. Hi, okay, I do see some of you typing in, joining already. Amazing, amazing. So, the purpose of the show is to really help you to own your voice, value, and visibility to help you advance your career. I decided to do an impromptu live today on the topic of end of year reflection and an opportunity for you to ask me anything as well. So it's going to be a more casual Q&A. We'll be answering questions. I'll kick things off with reflecting the year and how to plan for your career move. And then I'll be answering a common question I've been getting a lot from my clients lately. Should I quit a job before landing my next job there? So those are some of the things that I will be talking about today. Hello. Hey, Andrea. Great seeing you. Hello, hello. Hey, Kabarana. Greetings from Uganda. Hey, great seeing you as well. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Things are happening. All right. So tell me, what are you looking forward to this holiday season there? The holidays coming up. I decided to give back, and something that I'm really looking forward to is some downtime to really hang out with my family and friends, enjoy our new home that we just renovated. We just moved back a couple of weeks ago. So this is my new office space as well. So super excited about that there. So, all right, if you are here, let me know. Want to just check here. I'm just going to double check that LinkedIn is working. All right. All right. I see some of you already on LinkedIn and on YouTube as well. Amazing. Better start next year. So that's a great what you're looking forward to. Amazing. Thank you for sharing that. So as mentioned, what we're going to cover today is I'm going to kick things off with talking about how to reflect on your year, how to plan for your career move in the new year. Should I quit my job before landing a job? And then some other questions that came in that I thought that was really insightful as well. So just to set the agenda here, some other questions that submitted to me were included. Let me see here that got submitted. What's your advice on transitioning from a sales career to analytics career? What else here? Another question is, how is the interview process like now? Like, what are the trends? How to connect on LinkedIn effectively with people at your target companies? What methods to market your new service-based business? How to juggle the transition from a full-time job to a full-time business, and many more. So if you have any questions, feel free to submit them as well, and I will answer them along the way. So I just want to check in and say hello. Thank you, Andrea. Office looks fabulous. Thank you. Thank you. I'm still setting things up, but I'm really, really excited. Just to give you some context here, it took me years to find our home. Like this was 7, 8 years ago. We spent about at least 5 years looking for ideal space. And one of my criteria was I wanted a spacious office. I didn't want just like a den size office. I wanted something spacious where I could actually, back in the day, I would have clients come over as well. So it took us years to find our office space. And for you to just picture, the size of my office is the size of 2 garages. My office is just right above the garage. So we actually turned a family room into my office space there. So I really get to enjoy this space, and for me to create, coach, and just really enjoy the space here. So anyhow, thank you so much for the comment there. So let me just kick things off with how to reflect on your year. So that is like the first thing that we're going to cover today. Okay, so let me just dive in here. So I see some of you here already. And for those who typically ask, there will be a replay. You can check it on my LinkedIn, or I will be adding timestamps on YouTube as well. If you are new to my work, feel free to follow me on LinkedIn or on my YouTube channel there. Okay, so let's dive in here, shall we? Let's talk about what's the first piece here that we're going to cover today is how to reflect on your year. So I want to check in with you. For those who here, how would you describe your year for 2021? How would you sum up your year for 2021? For me, I would say it's I consider it almost like a yin and yang. There's like the ups and downs, the ebbs and flows. The first 6 months of my year, I felt like I was really busy, hustle, go, go, go. And the last 6 months is really taking things slowly, enjoying the moment. So I've been learning a lot about myself this year. So, a few things. I'm going to offer you 5 steps to consider when it comes to reflecting on your year and some questions to think about as well. So, the first step is to really reflect on your personal and professional highs and lows. So, you can create a 2 by 2 grid. Right, where you have the highs and lows on the top, and then you have a personal and professional as the column there, the rows here, and reflect on your highs and lows, where you can ask yourself questions such as, what are you proud of? What are the fond memories? What did you enjoy? What drained you? What was hard this year? So these are some questions to get you going, thinking about your year, of your highs and lows. Just quickly think about them. Like, I think for me, if I think about my highs and lows, a personal high for me would be definitely renovating our home. It was like a 5-month process there. What was hard is adjusting to this change. We had to move out to the home and adjusting to the new environment there and doing a lot of cleaning and packing and all that. From a professional high for me, I'm so proud of running this live stream show since last year. So it's been a year running the show. I've taken some breaks in between, but I'm really proud of running a show where I have a combination of Q&As, guest interviews, trainings. I really love that variety where I get to connect with all of you and connect with my guest speakers, and to be able to do some coaching and training and teaching as well there. Another high is my business has grown as well. It's grown quite a bit this year. That's something I'm really proud of. On the low side, I would say on the professional side is, I was doing a lot beginning of the year. And for those who've been following me for quite some time, I was having like a weekly show there. And I actually faced a burnt out back in March timeframe there. And I realized that I really need to take it easy. And instead of running weekly type of shows, is to run every 2 weeks or twice a month there. So those are things that you want to reflect on. Like, what are your personal highs and lows? Feel free to share it with me. I would love to hear from you as well. Like, what are some of your highs and lows this year? Another, I would say my personal high was definitely this summer, just really enjoying the outdoors with my family. Even though we're still stuck in the pandemic, spending time at the beaches was amazing. Just seeing my kids play, hanging out with friends. Another personal high this year, I would say, was like my milestone year. I turned 40 in September. So that was a great high in terms of seeing a lot of my friends and celebrate it for an entire month. It made me realize how much I missed the in-person connection there. Another high this year was celebrated my 10-year in my business in January. And that's something I was really proud of. And then celebrating my 10-year anniversary with my husband there. So those are other highs in terms of celebrating. So it was quite a big milestone year for me there. Awesome. Okay, so take the moment and feel free to jot down these notes as well of thinking about your highs and lows this year. Step 2, what you want to think about is really reflecting on the lessons learned from this year, right? You thought about your highs and lows. You also want to think about the lessons learned from this year. So what did you learn? What did you learn about yourself? Like, what's really important to you? How have you grown? How have you changed as a person compared to a year ago? What good decisions were made, right? Any risks that you took that you felt that it was really worth doing it? What are you grateful for? Who are you grateful for? What got in the way? Okay, so these are some of the questions that you can reflect on. I would say if I had to reflect on this, some of my lessons learned, I would say this year for me, I think the big thing is really learning that whole work-life balance and integration, that we want to work hard, but also enjoy, right? And play and have fun as well. And that's really what I did this year, is that transition of working hard, but also really just enjoying time with my family and friends as well. I've learned that Flexibility is really important to me, and hence why I started this business like 10 years ago. I love to have that freedom and autonomy. As much as I love connecting with people, I also crave that alone time as well. So I love to have that time there. What good decisions were made? Oh, definitely think make the decision of renovating the home was a great decision, even though it was a big process, scary process, but it was a great decision that we decided to make early in the year. What am I grateful for? I'm so grateful for so many things and people in my life. I think the big thing is really this year I got to meet a lot of new people all over the world. I think thanks to LinkedIn that I've been connecting with many of you, whether you're a big fan, a big supporter, colleague, friends, clients. I'm so grateful for you. I have a huge value for connection, and one of the reasons why I decided to start the live stream earlier this year was to really want to give back. Second was to really connect with you, to really help those who might have felt a bit of that pandemic fatigue or feeling lonely, and even for me, that feeling more connected to you as well. There, what got in the way? I would say because of the renovations and the move, there was definitely some stress there. And that's probably why I took a break from my live stream in the summer. But at the same time, I'm glad I took that break because I feel like that was what I needed there. Okay. So let me look at some comments here. I just want to see what you have. Yes, 10 years in business. Yes, yes. So share with me some of your lessons learned. Like, what are some of those biggest lessons? I think one of the big thing that I've also learned is the importance of setting boundaries. One thing I've been doing a lot this year is really optimizing my schedule every 3 months so that I could be productive and performing at my best. And so I would block off time where I want to have my own time versus meeting time. And so that way I'm not overstretched in having meetings like every single day. I typically like to front load my meetings, meaning the beginning of the week, Monday to Wednesdays, I'll have meetings. And then Thursday from Fridays, I like to do my own thing or business planning behind the scenes there. And so today was because today's a Tuesday. Typically, I'm fully booked in meetings, but because I wasn't fully booked, I was like, all right, why not do a live stream to connect with you there? All right, so step 3 is to identify new opportunities and improvement areas, right? So now that you reflected on lessons learned, you want to think about, hey, what are the new opportunities there? What will make next year better? What are areas to improve? What's in demand? This is also thinking about the market needs as well. If you're looking to make a career move, what's in need? What are those new opportunities out there? What jobs and skills are needed? And this will help you determine what can I do to really improve as well there. Okay. So take a moment to think about like, hey, what will make next year better for you? Is it a new job? Is it moving to a new place, a new environment, new location? Is it surrounding yourself with amazing people in your life that can also support you in your growth journey as well? What is it? What are things that could be better there? So think of that. I think for me, if I think about what would make next year better, I was just thinking as I was preparing for this, I was thinking of the word freedom that popped up for me there. And because I do a lot of one-on-one coaching, and there, one of the things that what I've been thinking a lot about is how can I serve more people beyond one-on-one coaching? And this is through live streams or training, offering courses. I've been offering courses to my clients for many years, but I haven't actually sold many of them. So that's something that I want to do next year is to really package my courses where I could offer it to more people who don't necessarily need my one-on-one coaching services there. What's in demand? Like, talking about what's in demand for the job market there right now, you probably have seen this. I mean, the job market is pretty crazy right now. It's pretty active, right? If you read the news, millions of people have quit their jobs like since April. So it's been more than 6 months now. And I would say as a coach right now, I've been talking to more people, not just clients, but also friends, people I know who are either quitting their jobs, in the process of thinking of quitting their jobs. And so what's happening is that there's definitely going to be more vacancies. Like there's going to be more more vacancies, but also more competition, right? Um, and there's going to be more change, I believe, right? Like when there's movement like around, there's going to be more change in different organizations. So what this means for you as a job seeker is that, and I see from a job seeker standpoint, is that there's probably more expectations, more commands in terms of what you want more of a career out there, that it's so important to really get curious and do your due diligence when evaluating whether this opportunity is right for you or not there. Right? And so not only the employer interviewing you, but you also want to interview an employer to assess the fit. Like get a sense of, is this a new role or is this a replacement role? Has there been a lot of movement on their team, in the company as well? Like, what is attrition like? Ask those questions to get a sense of the culture and the dynamics of the organization there. Okay. What jobs and skills are needed? I would say what I've been seeing a lot is definitely anything related to technology, like data analytics, e-commerce. Those type of roles have definitely been seeing in demand, or jobs in the space of, I actually, like my husband's in marketing, like he's telling me like they're hiring a lot as well. Sales, any business that are growing would need salespeople as well. So there's definitely a variety. Supply chain, healthcare, those are all in demand areas there. Okay, awesome. All right, job upgrade. I love that. What do you want better? A job upgrade. Amazing. Okay. All right. So the next is, once you identify those new opportunities and improvement areas, you also want to think about the fourth step is think of your wants and needs. So this is really going back to you in terms of, what do you want more of? Who do you want to become? How do you want to feel? What needs to happen and change? Right. So this is really digging deep of really understanding what you want, and also what do you need to do to make that change happen. So getting really clear on that. And I think it's so important. Oftentimes we neglect sometimes maybe our feelings, like really tuning, how do you really want to feel in the new year? Is it you want to feel more free, more fulfilled, more meaningful? Write those words of how you want to feel, as that will guide you in the decisions that you're going to make or the opportunities that you will take there. So write that down. Like, what do you really want more of? If you're looking for getting a new job, what does that really look like? What do you want to spend majority of your time doing? What will be energizing for you? Write that down. And if you're looking to, let's say, a big career change, I know a lot of you who talk to me are looking to make a change, is that you really want to assess, if you want to make this big change, what needs to happen in order to make that change? For some, looking for, let's say, if you're transitioning to something similar, it may only take a couple months. But if you're looking to make a drastic change, it could take a year or more. So you want to ask yourself that, what needs to happen in order to make that change successfully there? Is it the fact that you need to upgrade your skills or get more education there? Okay. So think about that, of your wants and needs, and feel free to share as well of what you want more of. Feeling wealthier, I love that. Feeling more rich, I love that. Okay. Thank you for sharing. Okay. All right. Let me see here. I just want to check if my LinkedIn comments are coming in. For those who are on LinkedIn, feel free to type in as well. I just want to see if they're coming in here, because I'm seeing most comments from YouTube there. Last time I wasn't seeing any comments from LinkedIn, so I missed a lot of the questions that came through. So if you're here on LinkedIn, feel free to type in that. Just want to make sure if I'm seeing the comments. If not, I'm going to check on my phone later on there. Okay. Okay, so once you thought about your wants and needs, like, to me, this could take quite some time, right? It's not just a quick exercise. I think that you really want to take some time to really brainstorm what you want more of in life, in your career, in your relationships, in health, in the environment that you're in. Think about all of that holistically, right? This is like life coaching, where you really want to consider it holistically to have that more joy and fulfillment there. Okay. All right, next is to really create an action plan. So based on what you know, what you want and what you need to do, the next is really create an action plan so that you can commit to it. right? What will you say yes to and what will you say no to? This is one of my favorite questions because it really helps you get clear. If you're saying yes to something, you probably have to say no to something else. You may need to give up on something. So if you need to spend time on, let's say, job searching there, you probably need to say no to some of the other extracurricular activities that taking up your time there. So getting really clear, like what are your non-negotiables and what are you going to do to protect these non-negotiables for you there? What will you stop, continue, and start doing? So you can write 3 columns on what will you start, stop, continue, and start. And this is part of helping you form these new habits to help you have a more productive new year there. Who will you ask and get support? Who will you ask for help and get support from? I think this is really important, right? I think a lot of times when we have big dreams and big goals, you can't just do it alone, especially like if I'll give you an example, like I have clients who decided to pursue their MBA, and it's a really big commitment in terms of time and money. Getting the support from their family who really understand that their time commitment is really important. So really, you want to assess like for what you want to achieve, how much time it's taking you, and who can really help you support you along the way there. Okay. All right, so those are the 5 steps on how to reflect on your year. So let me just recap for those who are just tuning in right now. I just cover the 5 steps on how to reflect on your year. Step 1 is to reflect on your personal and professional highs and lows. Step 2 is reflect on the lessons learned. Step 3 is to identify new opportunities and improvement areas. Step 4 is to think of your wants and needs. And step 5, lastly, is to create an action plan that you can commit to and to have deadlines of when you want to achieve them by. Something that I like to do when I think comes to time management or achieving my goals, I like to think of them as break it down as projects. And each goal I break into a project, I'll then break it down into milestones. What are like the 3 to 5 milestones? And from there, each milestone, I'll think about what are the deliverables required to reach that milestone. And then from there, I'll map it out into tasks with deadlines. And I use a project management tool called Asana, Asana. It's a free tool. You can also upgrade it as well. But the free version will work for most of you in terms of managing your time and projects and also delegating to others there. So I hope you find that helpful. Okay, so I want to share with you a job search success story. It just happened recently in hopes to inspire you and share some lessons learned as well. So one of my client pivoted from government to tech in privacy through networking with a 32% salary increase. And this is a huge transition going from the public sector to technology at a top company, top tech company in privacy, which is really hot right now. And it was through networking. Now, however, this journey took quite some time for this client, even though I only helped her for a very brief period, only had like a couple of coaching sessions. She started her journey like over a year ago in terms of studying for her master's, getting her certifications in privacy, really learning about the industry, going to conferences to meet people in this area to really position her for success. And she hired me specifically for interview coaching because she was getting interviews but not closing. So we really worked on really mastering her elevator pitch, her unique value proposition, relevant stories and examples that showcase that she's a good fit for this new industry and new role as well. And so my point here is that when you're looking to make a big change in your career or changing industries, it will take time. For some, it could be a few months, but for some, it could be over a year or so, depending on whether you need additional education or certifications to increase your marketability and credibility there. Okay, so this is something I'm really proud of, even though it may seem like our journey was short together, but I knew that it was like years in the making for her. So my message here is that if you have this deep desire or this yearning to do something different, are you willing to do what it takes to make it happen? Are you willing to invest in that time, energy, or even money to really elevate that? I know like this particular client had to invest in money to get more certifications and education to make herself even a more remarkable candidate there. Okay. All right, so I'm going to check if there's any comments or questions coming in here. If you have any questions, feel free to comment. I'm just going to double check to see if anyone on LinkedIn is commenting, because I just want to make sure I'm not missing anyone like I did last time there, because I don't see in my platform of comments coming in. Okay. All right. Okay. I think we're good for now. Okay. So I think there's a lot of listeners here, which is great to see that. I know some of you who message me that they'll just be tuning in, just listening because they may not want to participate there if they're in a job. Okay, so let's dive in there to the next here. So I just have a question coming in. How do you find out tech salaries because Glassdoors are low? So one of the website you can check is called levels.fyi. They usually have pretty, I would say, accurate salaries of salaries at the top tech companies like Microsoft, Facebook, Amazon, Google, Apple, and many more. So check out this website, levels.fyi. I'll just share it here, there. That's one of the websites that I like to use when I coach my clients who are targeting like top tech companies to get a better sense of salaries. They are more in the technical roles like software developers, but they also have like program manager type of roles or data scientist, product designer, technical product program manager, product manager type of roles that you can also search for salaries by location as well. Okay. There is also, I'm just looking right now. Yeah, there's other like roles like HR, marketing, recruiter, sales type of salaries as well there. Okay, so I hope that is helpful there. Okay, yes, there is about the sale. It says there's sales as well. I don't know how much information you're going to have to check there. Okay. All right, so next we're going to dive in. Next question is how to plan for a career move in the new year. So I recently did a poll. Over 80% of you, it was like 84% of you, indicate that you are looking to make a career change or a job change in the new year. So in 2022, that's pretty high. And I'm not surprised considering like all the numbers we're seeing right now of a lot of people quitting jobs. You know, you've probably heard of the Great Resignation, Great Reshuffle, or the Great Realization of people searching for something that's more fulfilling, or they feel that they're just burnt out and tired in the current role and want something different. So I want to offer you 5 steps to consider for those who are just getting started. What are the 5 things to consider when you're looking to make a career move in the new year? Number 1 is that you really want to reflect on what you want. So I always talk about soul searching before job searching, right? Getting really clear. And this is why the reflection work is really helpful, right? You really want to understand your wants and your needs, what's important to you, getting clear on your ideal role, ideal lifestyle, ideal type of compensation, ideal type of companies, understanding your strengths, interests, and your values. Those are all important things to help you get clear on what you want. And I have to say, sometimes it's really hard to do it on your own, especially if you haven't really done much of this reflection work or really pay attention to that. Because I've noticed sometimes, even when I work with clients, they're not sure. And it's through a lot of probing and asking a lot of questions, but also identifying themes and patterns, right? To help you connect the dots there. It's really understanding your motivations of what really drives you. Right. One of the things that has helped that I've seen in helping clients when they're looking to make a pivot and they're questioning, hey, is this something I want to continue to do? Like, do I still want a career in sales, or do I want a career in marketing or a career in operations? One thing to think about is what drives you, like what gets you excited in the work that you do. Like, for example, like, are you obsessed with, let's say, efficiency? I have a client right now, I'm learning that she's obsessed with efficiency, meaning being very productive, really getting things done as quick as possible. And she's in a more sales oriented type of a role there. And so that could be a clue to think about, like, hey, like, could that be a clue to consider roles or opportunities that require you to do more about operational efficiency gains or process improvement, as an example, to explore further. So really think about things that you care about. Like, for example, I have some people who really care about people, right? Or care about developing people, and they want to make that transition into HR, right? But then as we probe further, we realize it's not the HR administrative side of things that they're interested in. They're actually more interested in coaching people or training people. And so that could be a career in coaching or becoming a trainer or facilitator, right? So it's really reflecting on those things. And one thing I always like to think about is, what do you want to spend majority of your time doing? And what's that skill that you want to be using? And that will give you some clues on the type of careers that require that skill and that require you to spend that kind of time in that kind of role there. Okay, so that's a step one. And this could take from few weeks to few months for people to do. Sometimes some people could take a year, but I like to set a deadline, right? That giving yourself that 3 to 6 months, if you can afford that time. I would say by 3 months, you should be able to get some sort of good clarity of what is it that you want, especially if you're looking to make that career change. And then a big part is deciding. I find sometimes that there's a lot of fears that people have, and it's hard for them to decide. So a big part is also looking at what are those fears that you may have and committing to making that change, taking that first step to this transition there. Second step is to really research on the hiring needs. So, a big part is really understanding the needs of the role of the employer, right? In order for you to sell yourself effectively, you need to really understand, what does it take to be successful? What is it that they're looking for in an ideal candidate? So, this is where research comes in, from reading job postings, from having informational interviews to talking to people, or just going on research websites, or listening to like different like podcasts or interviews of how people got hired into these kind of roles. Those are all the type of insights that you can get to help you better understand the type of language to use and how to best position yourself for success. Okay, so that's step two there, is to really understand the needs of the employer. Step three is to really refresh your marketing collateral. So this includes essentially updating your resume, your cover letter, your LinkedIn profile, your elevator pitch, your outreach messages. You want to make sure that they are consistent and compelling, and that they align to your overall personal branding message. This is a big piece of work, or a huge milestone, I would say. Like, I find from my experience that oftentimes it could take people quite a bit of time, because there's quite a few deliverables in here, right? Updating a LinkedIn, updating the resume, writing a cover letter, getting an elevator pitch. There's a lot of things to consider, right? So you really want to refresh your marketing collateral to ensure it's up to date. And you want to make sure that it's reflecting your qualifications as well. One of the biggest opportunity I see for people to make is really turning it from a responsibilities type of content, based content, to more an accomplishments and results based content. So really making it more tangible, making it more impressive. Instead of just talking about what did you do, you want to talk about what did you do well. Okay. All right. So someone asked here, so Trinidad here is, what podcast do you recommend? Oh, there's so many podcasts here. One of them, one of my friend, Sono Balhal, she has a podcast of how they got hired, or how they got hired. It's a great one. Like, she interviews people of how they got hired into the roles or companies. I think that's a great podcast to check out there. So let me just really do a quick search here. If you follow my friend Sono, she has a great podcast on how I got hired. That is the name of the podcast, How I Got Hired. That's a great one to check out there. Yes, thank you. How I Got Hired. Okay. All right. All right. And then the question is, what if I don't know a lot about the role? I mean, this is where the research comes in. The curiosity has to come in. Like, you probably have some maybe assumptions or impression of what you think about the role is, and you want to validate that by talking to people, reading job descriptions, reading other people's profiles on LinkedIn there. Okay. All right. So where are we at? So we just covered, let me see here. What step? Oh, we were just covered. Okay, refreshing. We were on step 3 on how to plan for your career move in the new year is to really refresh your marketing collateral there. So step 4, once you refresh this, I think you're going to feel a lot more confident and clear in promoting yourself effectively. So the 4th step is you want to reconnect with your network. So networking is really critical to your job search success, I would say. I know the majority of people that I work with when I first start, majority of times they just rely on applying online. And if you're just replying online, that's only really one search methodology. And the probability of getting an interview or getting a job offer is really low with that. So you want to add on other additional job search methodologies. You can use job boards to help you identify openings, job postings, what they're looking for, and tailor to the need. However, you also want to think about how can I leverage networking to gain more insights and to get a foot in the door through an introduction or referral there. So think of people that you already know in your network, and think of people that who are maybe well connected or people who work at your target companies. Think about recruiters, hiring managers using LinkedIn to find people, right? Start with your warm network first of people you know, and then you move into the cold network of people you don't know. So if you don't have a strong network, this is where the extra effort comes in, where the extra research comes in, and using a tool like LinkedIn to find those people would be really helpful there. Okay. And this is key. I think that once you get your materials there, it's really creating that list of people. I like to say, like, the challenge I like to give out to my clients is to have a list of at least 100 people you want to reach out to, because not everyone is going to respond back to you, and that's okay. But you don't want to give up so quickly there. So having a list of 100, and if you get like a 20 to 30% response rate, that's pretty good already there. Okay. And so you want to spend time on networking to get a foot in the door, especially for those who are looking to make a big pivot into a new industry or a new profession there. Step 5 is to review your key stories and messages. So this is really the interview prep and practice, right? In order to ace that interview, to get this new job, you have to know your stories and messages. So this is where the rehearsing them will be helpful, like writing down first, what are those common questions you get? How would you answer them? Taking time to review and practice them, having mock interview with someone or recording yourself in front of a camera would be very helpful there. Okay? I think that especially for those who are still feeling awkward on camera, it's so important to practice. You're not going to ace it right away, right? Because you're talking to a camera, but really you're talking to a person at the end of the day. And so you want to get more comfortable with talking in front of a camera, even though you may feel there's a distance there, right? So one of the tricks I like to do is to add a picture behind my camera, picture of my kids, so that reminds me that I'm talking to a human being and reminds me to smile on camera there. Okay. All right. Hey, Jennifer, great to see you, my friend. Yes, start with your warm network will make it easy before tapping into a cold network on LinkedIn. Right? One of the things I like to think about is almost there's different stages of networking. If you're just getting started, get your feet wet, talking to people you know, and it's just really getting you more comfortable in talking about yourself, asking questions. And that's really that stage 1 of networking, right? That stage 2 of networking is really happens when you feel like you're more confident, you've got more insights about the company, you understand the hiring requirements and what they're looking for. So stage 2 is really more promotion, that you want to promote yourself more. So this is when you want to feel like you're confident enough to go start promoting and pitching yourself to recruiters, to hiring managers, or to executives. Right? So you want to get at least, I would say, about a dozen type of these conversations people you know, so that you feel like, okay, I know what I'm talking about now, and then you move in that next stage there. Okay, good. Thank you for sharing. Yes, recording yourself on camera is such a good tip, especially with video interviewing. Yes, for those who here, check out my friend Jennifer's YouTube channel. She has tons of videos on especially how to deal with toxic jobs, toxic boss. If you're in that space or situation, I highly recommend my friend Jennifer's YouTube channel. She has amazing videos on that there. I know a lot of you have reached out to me on this who are going through challenges in their workplace. And so if you need some resource and support, check out Jennifer's channel there. Yes, and someone just mentioned it's also a good idea to use a year end to reflect on your accomplishments to better fill in your LinkedIn resume. Absolutely. I'm not sure who commented this, but this is so true, right? When we reflect on our year, it will help you with updating your marketing materials as well. So this is a great exercise to do. Maybe you can do it with some friends or colleagues as well, or even think about the performance reviews or the feedback that you got, and that will help you with updating your materials there. Don't wait till the last minute. I've seen so many times, that people tell me like, oh, I have this dream job I want to apply to, and I really want to get this done in a week. It is possible if you have the right guidance and resources, but really to craft a great resume, like markable resume, it really takes time. Like it's not just creating it, it's actually first strategizing the content you want to have and reflecting on what you want to include there and having this editing process of what you want to cut to make it a really strong document there. Okay. Okay. All right. Oh, that was Mac's suggestion. Oh, that's my friend Max. Thank you. Long time no talk. I got your message as well. I'll respond back to you there. Thanks, Jennifer. All right. So let's move on to my next piece here. What was the next questions? Okay. Reconnect with your network. We talked about that. Review your story and messages. So this is how you plan for your new career in the new year. Okay. I will have more training coming up in the new year to go through all the nitty gritty and tactics, but I really want to get this high level. Like for those who are really thinking of a change is first reflect what you want. Second is to research on the hiring needs. Third is to refresh your marketing collateral. Fourth is reconnect with your network. And fifth is to review and rehearse your key stories and messages. Okay. All right, so I had a question that came in that was submitted anonymously here is what are the key things one should consider when career planning? Should they prioritize a career with a barrier of entry or a high paying role that doesn't have educational barriers? I thought this was a great question. And one example that this person used was, for example, if I want to become a lawyer where I basically need education or go get a high paying job. So really, this is like, it depends, right? To me, it really depends on what's important to you. Going back to what is it that you truly want? What's going to be fulfilling for you? And then we have to understand what does it take to make this change? So if you want to become a lawyer, in order to become that, you do need to get the education in order to become a lawyer there. It's not something you can skip where you can just get hired without that education. And so some things you want to consider, this is something I always talk about, is you want to consider the significance of change. How big of a change is it? I have a graph, I don't have it on me right now, that I like to think about is, are you changing career and are you changing industry, right? Or are you staying same industry or same profession? And this is like a 2x2 grid to assess the significance of change. So when you think about it, if you're changing careers and changing industries, right, doing something completely different, that's the hardest change to make, which means it's going to take the longest time, right? This could mean that you have to invest in the education and all that. And so when you are looking to stay in the same profession and same industry, that's the easiest change to make, which means that you could probably take you a few weeks or a few months for you to land that job because you already have that relevant experience there. Right. And so this is what you need to consider is how big is the change and what would this cost me in terms of the change? Like, will it cost, like if I need to get more education, can I afford to make that change there? Right. And am I willing to spend this time to make this kind of a change there? Right. So it's really considering those things. I think the other thing to consider, and it's also depending on where are you at in your life and career. Right? If you are early on in your career, is it the fact that you can maybe take more risk, right? You don't have as much obligations, let's say a mortgage or kids to take care of. Can you afford to take more risk, right? So if you can afford to take more risk, then, right, is it something that you want to do in terms of taking this big risk? If you're late on your career, you can still make changes. Like I know so many people in their late 30s or 40s making changes as well, right? I think the key here is how big of a risk are you willing to take? And is it the fact that you want to maybe find a bridge job first before you figure out what you really want to do next there? Okay. One of the key things is you really want to consider, like, one is what do you want, right, in terms of your ideal role. You also want to consider also what's best if for those who have obligation, like what's best for my family as well. So I'll give an example, right? Consultant. If you're going into like a demanding consulting role, sometimes it may require long hours, traveling. Is that suitable for this stage of your career in your life? Like, do you have other obligations? You need to consider that as well. You also want to consider the lifestyle, right? With the type of lifestyle that you want, right? For some, I know now that more people are asking that they want a remote role because they want more flexibility where they could live anywhere or travel anywhere. So you want to consider that ideal lifestyle as well. And that will all impact the direction and choice that you're going to make and whether you would want to invest that time, money, and energy into making this change there. Okay. Now, one thing I do want to talk about is that because I used to recruit for MBA, executive MBA program. Like this was 10 years ago as well. And one thing I discover is when I ask people like, why are you pursuing an MBA? And one of the common answer I respond back is that I'm not sure what I want. Therefore, I'm pursuing MBA to figure things out there. And my thinking is that this is like the coach in me, right? Because investing in like a program like an MBA, pretty expensive there and pretty time commitments could be like a year or 2 years, depending on what program, right? And to me, it would be, in my opinion, better to invest in a coach to get coaching to figure out what you want first before just investing in a very expensive educational program to figure out what you want to do next there. That's just my take. I know because I've done my MBA, I've recruited for an MBA. I've also done coaching myself, like investing in becoming a coach and hiring a coach. And when it comes to actually figuring out what you want, I think it's better to work with a coach on that than going through a program there. Okay. Yeah, this is a juicy question. Yes, right. It's those variables. It's like what else do I think about? And I think that is not just thinking about what you want. I think that especially if you have other things to consider, we want to consider the bigger picture of things to make it work as well. Okay. Hey, Edward, great to see you. Long time no chat here. Great to see you again. Like those podcast tips. Thank you. Thank you. Long time no chat. We got to catch up soon. Great to see some familiar faces here. Hey, Candice, excellent 5 suggestions. You're welcome. Yeah. Oh, great suggestion on podcasts. Yes, feel free to share. Andrea share Podcast Bouncing Forward by Amy Purdy. Yes, there's a lot of great career podcasts out there. I just can't think of all of them right now, but there's a lot of great ones out there. If you do a search on career or job search, there's a lot of great ones there. Yeah. Jennifer said, this is a solid and overlooked point. So many people jump into an expensive education and expect the clarity to come. Some of my clients have thought they needed an 150K MBA to achieve their goals and realized through coaching, they didn't. Yes, yes, and yes. And these days, an MBA is pretty expensive. And I know when you think about it, a lot of them are still doing like, I think online education as well, but still paying the same prices like in person there. So I think it's so important to do your due diligence. I think that, yes, like I'm big on investing in your professional growth and development, but really get clear on first, like who you are, what you want, what's important to you first before investing in the education piece there. Okay. Yeah, great comment making big life and investment commitments there. Yes. Okay. So let's move on to the next question here. Okay. Actually, I'm going to just do a plug for those who are still thinking about like what to do next in their career. Check out my replay on my YouTube on how to decide your next career move. It's like a 1-hour training that I did early in the year where I walk you through my framework, the strategy, want, needs, can analysis. And I walk through some very specific questions to guide you through there. So for those who are still trying to figure out what's next, check out that replay. I think that you're going to find it really helpful there. Another great book, if anyone wants to share it, that I recommend a lot is Designing Your Life. It was written by, I think, 2 Stanford professors, and it was actually geared towards for MBA grads, where they found that I think a lot of people, like, where they finished their MBA and like 10 years later, they were still not fulfilled with their life and career. And so it's meant to be a guide to help you with really identifying what really fulfills you, what's going to really make you happy there. All right. So I had another question that came in anonymously is, what's your advice on transitioning from a sales to data analytics career? This is such a great question. And so when you think about it, sales is what? It's more people-oriented role, right? Meaning you're using a lot of your verbal communication skills, connecting with clients, developing relationships. And then let's think about a career in data analytics. It is more analytical, more numbers-driven, data, more technical, where you need to use tools as well, right? So you can see here in terms of the primary skill set is different, right? And so this is where we need to assess, right? And when you think about it here is from a sales career, we got to understand, like, what type of sales career have you been in? Like I happen to know this person who's been in a more tech sales career, right? Technology oriented, software based type of solutions. So if you can position yourself where you are tech savvy, that you understand technology, that you're highly analytical, that's really going to help there. Now, the other thing we really need to consider in this case with data analytics, from my experience, to get into that, you do have to be really strong with data or numbers, comfortable with using tools like Excel, SQL, Tableau, or any of those technical tools that you need to know. You need to know that because you're competing against candidates with that. And so this is where, if you're really serious about this, is I would suggest talking to people in that space. And I would also identify, in terms of within this space, the different type of roles. I once had a client who was a data analyst, and she was not fulfilling her role, but she knew she still wanted to be in data analytics. And so one thing I discovered was really asking her, like, what do you want to spend majority of your time doing? And she said she wanted to spend 80% of her time doing like data analysis, like being in front of her computer, doing crazy analysis, and only 20% of her time collaboration, teamwork type of work. And it turns out that job that she had that time was flip. I mean, 80% of her time was communication, collaboration, project management, and only 20% of data analytics. So it was not fulfilling for her. And so what you want to ask yourself is, even in a career in data analytics, is it more a project management type of role I want to be involved in? Or is it more like a hardcore analytics type of role I want to be in? And so just be able to identify that will help you also assess whether I need certifications or certain tools or knowledge I need to know, or whether I should pursue further, like a master's in data analytics, as an example. Okay. And so those are things you really want to assess there. It is possible, like you can even think about, it could be maybe at first a transition into a sales career in selling data analytics solution, right? That could be that bridge first, selling data analytics solution, and then you'll start working with people in that space and to make that next transition there. Okay. And so my key takeaway here is really knowing the primary skill sets that's required and what employers look for in terms of requirements, and think of how to reposition yourself there. Okay. Oh, yes. Andrea just mentioned some data analytics require excellent storytelling abilities. This would be a great fit for a qualified person who has a sales background. Yes, thank you for mentioning that, Andrea. Absolutely right. Right. Some of these roles require you to be able to really synthesize the data and tell a great story. I actually have a client in data analytics as a consultant and a consulting firm, and a big part of her job is storytelling, presenting the data to executives to pitch the recommendation ideas of what to do next there or what the opportunities are. So thank you for mentioning that. So that's a great way to also qualify yourself for that there. Okay. All right. So another question here from Michelle. What advice do you have for the mature over 60 job hunter? She was made redundant just before COVID closures and was a senior member of banking finance team. To date, still job hunting. She does not have an entrepreneurial spirit. Okay, I couldn't read the rest here, Michelle. I do get this question a lot, right? What advice for more mature job seekers there? I think a few things to consider is whether how one, I know that sounds like this person has been job searching for quite some time. Is I think there's a few things. Is one is really understanding the market trends and needs, but second is like, are there opportunities to refresh their brand and image as well? I think a big part right now when I think about today's market, employers are looking for people who can be highly adaptable, who can embrace change, be innovative and creative. And so some of the things that there may be this, what are the perception gaps here? Like, is there a perception gap that if this person has been in the same company for a long time, is there concern that are they able to pick things up quickly or easily? Are they, let's say, tech savvy, for example? I think it's doing that assessment to understand what the gaps are would be helpful there. But it is possible. Like, I have seen people, I have clients like in their 50s and 60s, is instead of thinking that you need to find a full-time job, consider being an advisor or consultant, especially if you have a niche expertise or knowledge in an area. You can package yourself being consultant. I know you mentioned here that not have an entrepreneur spirit, but instead of thinking it has to be, there could be the full-time opportunity, but also could be maybe a like a 1 year type of, let's say, consulting opportunity. I've seen right now, actually, in hiring, there are more what they call fractional roles. For those who are in recruiting, like, you may want to comment on this. Like, I'm seeing fractional roles as, say, COO, CFO, CMO, VP of this, or product manager, product designers. I'm seeing more of these fractional roles. So meaning that they don't necessarily hire you full time; they just want to have you part time to do the work. So that's something that I'm seeing as well. So that could be another thing to consider there. Yeah. Oh, you suggested consulting, but said no. So this is where I think it's really that. I think it's going back into the traditional full time. Honestly, it would be networking. Networking is going to be a key there. I think that, and I'm not sure what level this person at. If we're at a very senior level, tapping into your network would be key there. And so I'll give you an example. I had a client just last year. Yeah, an executive client at the SVP level for a big telecommunications company for 20 years. She was at the same company for and never had to look for a job. Left the company, and it was almost like a 2-year transition because for her, she really wanted a role that was still a similar level, similar pay, similar scope, all this criteria there. So she knew it was going to take time. And so what she did was she actually took on multiple consulting gigs because she was actually interested in pivoting industries as well. So for her, was she was really interested in learning different industries. And then through that, through networking, she pivoted from like telecommunications to the banking industry at that executive level. And so that's going to take time. But I think the key here to me, it's about marketing. It's all about thinking about, like, from a marketability standpoint, is this person presenting themselves in a way that makes them marketable? Is it clear in terms of their unique value proposition, their accomplishments, and results? Okay. All right, so let's move on. Great questions coming in. If you have any questions, feel free to submit as well. So let's move on to another one here that I want to share. I'm going to share another story here, another recent client, a jobs for success story. Customer experience client who I supported almost 2 years ago. This was since January 2020, pivoted into consulting, a full-time role through networking within a month of leaving her job. So I wanted to share this because what I've seen, and this is from my experience, having worked with now over like 1,000 clients, like one-on-one, that from my experience, if you're working and you are in a position where you are working crazy hours, most likely you just have a lot of balls to juggle, and therefore your job search does not necessarily take a priority there. And so, and I wanted to share this example because I have seen clients where, as soon as they decide to essentially make this change in terms of resigning because I need to make this change, opportunities came, right? Things were happening like before, even though this person was in a job, was networking a ton in the summer. But there's just a lot of things going on when you think of responsibilities of job, family, and so forth, and this whole pandemic, so much to juggle. So when you think about that, you're feeling what? Stress, anxious, and it's affecting the way you show up and when it comes to talking to people. And so when you get to have this decision of deciding, okay, it's time for me to go, it was like a huge relief. And all of a sudden, more ideas of like, who else can I connect with? What else can I think about? Right. And this person decided to pivot from originally wanted to target financial services industry to consulting. And it was really having the opportunity to reflect on what she enjoyed more of was variety, working with different clients, different problems. And literally within like a month of leaving the job, she landed an offer there. And so my point here is sometimes is, I guess, to think about is what could be getting in the way? Like, it's part of like, what are you saying yes to? What are you saying no to, right? If I'm saying yes to this, how is this impacting of me achieving the goal that I want there? Like, am I able to really make it a priority there? Okay. So I hope this really inspires. I know this actually leads into that question where a lot have been thinking about, like, should I quit my job or not? And honestly, I can't answer that for you. But one thing I do know from my experience, because I'm talking to a lot of clients about this question right now, should I quit my job or not? Right? The fact that you're thinking about it, it's on your mind, right? That there must be something that's triggering this, right? Like, really get clarity on why is this triggering you that you want to quit your job. Typically it's what? Either demanding boss, really demanding work environment, feeling stressed and burnt out, too many other obligations. It's just causing you feeling this anxiety there, right? And so what I wanted to offer is, if you can afford to do it, then you do it. So here are some things I want you to think about before you decide, because it's such a emotional experience and it's different for everyone there. So one thing I do know is that you can't make good decisions when you are very stressed and anxious. So number one is you want to check on your mental well-being. How are you feeling? Right? How are you feeling on a scale of 1 to 10? Like, how are you really feeling? Are you getting enough sleep? Are you actually productive at work? Are you feeling like totally drained or not? Right? Really do an honest assessment of how are you feeling. Okay, that's the first step, so that you know what your current state is and how do you really want to feel. Like, you want to feel alive or you want to feel excited, right? Check on that. Okay. I've seen many of my friends this year who've been in this state as well, and they decided to quit because it was piling too much there. So check on that first. Second is to check on your workload. Right. So this is where it's really understanding, what's your current workload like? Like, are you working more than the regular full-time hours? Like, is it 40 hours or really 50 hours or 60 hours? How many hours are you actually working? And what are the other obligations that you have? And how much time is that really taking? Like, are you able to really prioritize time for yourself or not? Okay, so check on that. Third is to crunch your numbers, right? So this is really important. If you're deciding to quit, you want to crunch some numbers. Talk to your loved ones, your spouse, your partner, really understanding what is your runway, meaning how many months can you go without an income. I recommend that at least you have 6 to 12 months of savings, for security. I think that's important. Even though it could take that long, right? For some, it could take 6 months or a year to find a job. Some, it could be like a couple months, in today's crazy market. But you do want to have some of that stability in terms of knowing that you have the financials to make this jump there. Okay, so crunch those numbers there, right? Talk to your financial advisor. Fourth is to create an exit plan. So this is where having a game plan in place, right? If you decided that you are going to be quitting before you land a job, create an exit plan, right? Like I was talking to another client yesterday that, quite a few team members on her team are quitting right now. And her boss is asking her, like, are you going to quit as well? And so I think it's happening a lot. It's not just this one person. I'm hearing it from different people right now that attrition is high. And so part of it is creating an exit plan, thinking about what can I do to transition? How can I start planning in terms of transitioning off my current work as well, without telling people that you're looking for a job, right? So just think of things that you need to consider to transition successfully, to exit successfully as well. What are things that you may want to wrap up on? What are things that you want to get prepared for? Right? Even just updating those marketing materials, having a clear idea what you're looking for. All those things are going to help you with accelerating your job search success there. Okay. Right. For some, it could be hiring and working with a coach, getting these resources to help them better position themselves for success there. Right. So those are the 4 steps when it comes to like, should I quit a job before landing a job? It really depends on your situation, right? But the fact that you're thinking about it, I want to make sure you are taking those steps to really understand where are you at right now and what are you going to do to help you make this exit as smooth as possible out there. And I can tell you, and I've seen this right now lately a lot for those who have decided to make that transition after quitting. A lot of it's the big relief, right? There's that anxiety of like, oh my God, I need to find something, I need to speak. And then the other side is, oh my God, I need a break. I need to rest, right? I have people telling me right now that before I even start my new job, I want to give myself a month or two before I start a new job. So there is this piece that people feel like I really need a break before I start my new job. And this is something you can negotiate, right, with an employer, in terms of start date as well. Don't be afraid to negotiate. As an employer, they probably want you to start as soon as possible, like in 2 weeks or 3 weeks. But I've seen some of my senior level clients where they negotiate like 2 months, 3 months, or 6 months for some as well, especially during like the summertime that they want to enjoy that summer off and start later in the year. I think in today's market right now, given that there are so many people resign and vacancies right now, I would say that there is more preference from an employer that you start as soon as possible because they are understaffed there. So that's something to keep in mind, which is why some people are considering quitting first to give themselves a break before they start their job search. Okay. So was this helpful? Let me check the chat here. Oh, what is Andrea share here? Regarding feelings, check on the Neuro Leadership Institute. SCARF model of brain, rewards, and threats. Status, certainty, autonomy, relatedness, and fairness. Ooh, interesting. Oh, Andrea, if you're able to elaborate more about that, that would be awesome as well. Status, certainty, autonomy, relatedness, and fairness. Oh, that's a good one to think about. Thank you for sharing that. Yes. Yes, numbers don't lie. Yes, the numbers will give you an idea of how much runway that you have. Oh, thank you, Jennifer. Thanks for the compliment. Awesome as always. Thank you. Thank you. I know I'm going more in depth here, but these are the questions that I've been getting, and I really just wanted to answer them. Okay. Yeah, another question was how to deal with pandemic fatigue. Oh my goodness. Can we just say that, we're tired of this? Let's just admit, yes, the pandemic fatigue, how to deal with that, right? I'm going to admit, like, I'm going to tell you guys, like, I definitely faced a fatigue, like even this summer, like burnt out, but also just, I think in general, like, with being at home and all that, I definitely faced that. So to me, I think it's so important to slow down to speed up, right? Taking time off. I'm really big on self-care. So whatever self-care activities that you can do to help essentially rejuvenate, refill, refresh, that's really important. Like for me, I like to go for my own like monthly facials, massages. Like I love that. I also love my own alone time, like having my meditation and journaling, or even just having one-on-one chats with people I'm close to really lift my spirits up there. So I think that's really important. If you're feeling this, that you're doing the same thing over and over again, it's time to even having a change of scenery can be great as well. right? Like back in October, my family and I went away just for the weekend to Muskoka, which is just a couple hours away from where we live. And then just that 2-day getaway in a new scenery, new environment was just what we needed to, lift our spirits up, right? Because we were so looking forward to moving back home, and renovations got delayed, and we're like, oh my goodness, are we going to move back by the holidays? And so just having that change of scenery can be a great way to feel better. Like I know even for myself in September when I celebrated my 40th birthday, leading up to it, I was actually feeling very down. Like, in fact, I was actually crying a lot. And, some of the personal stuff I was dealing with is actually some of my stuff like with my kids, where one of my younger one was facing some bullying issues at school. He was so young. So it actually impacted me a lot because, and I knew the trigger was because it impacted me to think back about my childhood of how I was bullied when I was younger. And so that impacted me emotionally as well. And I had to deal with that in order for me to show up fully for my kids and for my clients as well. And so hence why even I need to slow down in doing a lot of like content creation or live streams. And so to me, it's so important to deal with it. Don't ignore it. Talk to people about your feelings as well. Meeting people, I think talking online is different from meeting people in person. Like when I celebrate my birthday in September, October, I had a whole month of celebration. I had like a 3-day that weekend of celebrating, and it totally lifted my spirits up. And it made me realize how much I missed the in-person meetings. And then so hence I started having more one-on-one dates with my girlfriends, like lunch date, dinner dates, or like a facial massage. And I was like, that's exactly what I needed to fill my cup. So do whatever you need to fill your cup there. Okay. Yes, bullying occurs a lot in the workplace. Yes. Yeah, that's something I had to deal with there, and it really impacted me a lot. Yes. So, yeah. Okay, so the next question that came in, and honestly, is how is the interview process like now? Any new trends, especially in the financial industry? So I would say interview process has still been primary virtual, right? Typically, it's the initial screen with a recruiter, and the next round with the hiring manager, and the third round it could be with other colleagues or a panel interview. Something that I've been seeing a lot more this past year is there's been more online assessments in terms of like personality assessments, leadership assessment, critical thinking skills. I'm seeing more and more of that. And I think it's because of the virtual interviews that employers just want to get a better understanding of who you are, understanding your style more there. So that I'm seeing more. Second is I'm seeing more case presentation interviews. So this is different from the typical motivational interview, behavioral interviews. This is actually analyzing a real case study where you have a certain amount of time to analyze, put together your presentation, and pitch it. So I just had a client just yesterday going through an interview with Apple. And it was a series of 7 interviews first, like one-on-one interviews, really long when you think about that. Like 7 interviews already, essentially back to back throughout the day, and then had the weekend to prepare for a case. So basically like 48 hours, right? But 48 to 72 hours to prepare for that case, and then had to pitch it to the panel there. I'm seeing more of that. I see this across different industry, whether it's tech, financial services, especially more in roles that require you to be more analytical or require you to build a business case or present a lot and pitch a lot. I'm seeing more of that. So when you think about it, what they're really looking for is it's not just now understanding your qualifications. They're really trying to understand how you think, how you influence, how you present, how you think on your feet, how you handle stress in the moment, how you come up with problems and new solutions and recommendations as well. So they're really looking at more your in the moment type of performance there, not just your skills and qualifications that you bring to the table there. And so, which is why one thing I work on a lot is your communication skills on what you want to say, but also how you say it, which is really the executive presence, right? In terms of your energy, your warmth, your eye contact, facial expressions, your smile, hand gestures, all that have an influence in terms of your credibility and likability there. Okay. And so that's what I'm seeing more these days. Um, in terms of, I don't know, there's particular trends in the industry. I think in general across the board right now that, oh, the other thing I'm seeing is more one-way interviews, right? Especially for big companies, like whether it's big banks, for example, big tech companies. The first round interviews, I'm seeing more one-way interviews, which is awkward for many of you, right? Imagine talking to a computer and recording yourself. And if this is something you don't do often, it's very awkward, right? And so this is where, honestly, start practicing. Like you'll get the comment, tell me about yourself. Why are you interested in this role? Why are you interested in this company? What are your qualifications that make you a successful candidate? Tell me a time when you demonstrate this. Like anticipate these questions and record yourself. The more you do it, the more effective and better you'll be. Trust me on that, right? The first take is always awkward, but like even for me now, because I'm used to doing like live streams, like I know I can go with the flow in the way I talk, but I'm also prepared of what I want to say as well. And so the more you do it, the easier it's going to get there. Okay. All right. Oh, hey, Denise, great seeing you. Thank you for reinforcing that our feelings are legitimate. Yes, yes, yes. We got to acknowledge our feelings. And that's part of being human, really humanizing that. It's, honestly, I'm going to tell you something. Like one thing I've seen even as a coach this year in supporting clients is not only just supporting people's job search, but it's definitely supporting their well-being as well, right? Like I've had clients where unfortunately that they got COVID or their family members got COVID or people have passed away. And it's really, really sad. And a big part is we got to acknowledge these feelings. We can't ignore them. And it's okay that that we talk about that so that people know this is what you're going through, the challenges of why you may be appearing in a certain way there. Yeah. Yeah. I am really interested in fractional employment. Love that concept. There's definitely going to be more of that. I'm going to see there's definitely going to be more fractional employment happening. You probably heard of the gig economy, right? So if you check out sites like what's that site called? If someone can help me there, the consulting ones. It used to be Upwork. I forgot what the new name now is. Where essentially it's like freelance type of work. Oh, it's Upwork. Upwork.com. There's a lot of these consulting type of gigs that type of happening there. Yeah. Yeah. They definitely will increase. Yes, the said word. Oh. Oh, and comment, employers are bullying at this time of firing because they don't want to pay for the holidays. They are cheap and getting meaner by the day. Oh, that is unfortunate. I have heard about that as well in terms of the holidays. There are more layoffs happening. That is really unfortunate. I have been hearing more about that. It is definitely unfortunate. Actually, speaking of this, for some of you, if you've been working at the same company for quite some time, like I'm talking like 5 years, even 10 years, and you have, contributed a lot to the company, and if they are going through restructuring, but you're not getting picked, but you want to get picked, and if you have a good relationship with your manager or whoever, you can ask, in terms of essentially voluntary, that if you want to leave as well. Like for those who are thinking about that, I have seen people ask for that. Like this is part of the negotiation now. Like this is part of asking and negotiating what's right there. Or if you're quitting and you've been there for a long time, especially a decade, it's okay to negotiate for some severance or even like some severance to pay for your coaching service, for example. I have seen that as well there. Okay. I have even seen some where they pay for you, like having access to a computer or cell phone for like a couple months as well. What's driving fractional? Is it skill set? It's really managing cost, right? It's more in terms of commitment, right? What's driving fractional is that, it's a fractional price of paying a full-time person, right? So it's really a cost piece there that's driving that. It could also be sometimes with some of the problems that they're solving where it doesn't require a full-time person, but they just need someone who can come in to solve a very particular problem because of these changes that are happening in the market there. And it also could be like less risk, right? Risk management, less risk for some employers, right? Because part of it sometimes for fractional hires is that there could be less benefits they have to pay to the team member there. Okay. All right. So what else here? All right. So I was just talking about the interview process. If you want more tips, go to my other replay that I did, a free training. It was one of my most popular ones this year, is how to talk about your experience that sells. So I really walk you through the process of things to think about, frameworks, stories, examples of how to talk about your experience that sells. So check out that talk. It was one of my more popular ones this year. I think that will be really helpful if you're looking to gain more interview tips. All right, so we're going to be wrapping up soon. There's a couple more questions that came in. If you have any other final questions, feel free to submit them as well, and I will try to answer them there before we wrap up. All right, so a question here is how to connect on LinkedIn effectively with people at your target companies. Should I be transparent that I'm job searching, interested in the company, and will love to get their insights? All right, so this was like that two-part question. How do I connect on LinkedIn effectively at target companies? Should I be transparent? So I think a key here is if you're reaching out to a stranger, right? I think the key here is one, you want to acknowledge a bit about the profile, like what you like about them, what stood out. Second is you want to state your purpose or reason for reaching out, like having that clear reason of why you're reaching out there. To me, a lot of it's positioning, and I like to think about the stages of networking, right? And so instead of, you want to keep it short and sweet. You can definitely be transparent saying that, hey, you're looking to make a transition, making a change, and you're interested in this company. I'd love to learn more about you there. Now, the key here now is like, what is your ask? Like, what's the ask here? Like, are you asking for a phone call, a video call, or are you asking to have a quick chat conversation there through text? Personally, like I like to think about like, how are you building trust and rapport? Right. So if you're reaching out to a complete stranger, it's highly unlikely at the very first message you reach out, like, hey, can I pick your brain for 20, 30 minutes? Just by positioning that, it's not a friendly way of positioning. You want to have a more friendly way of positioning. Hey, like your profile stood out because of this. And I thought that I could learn more about this from you, like focus more on them. Would you be okay if we have a quick conversation here through like Messenger here, like say on LinkedIn through chat? And I find starting that conversation, the dialogue on LinkedIn first is helpful because you're building trust and rapport. The person is assessing like, hey, like, am I interested in talking further or helping you further there? And through that, and once you build that relationship where you feel like there is about that trust build, you can then ask like, would it be okay for us to hop on a quick call? Like 20 minutes or 25 minutes of your time. I find that anything under that 30 minutes, it's easier for someone to say yes to. Asking for an hour of someone's time is much harder. Or even keeping it 15 minutes is much easier for someone to say yes to. So the way you want to think about it is one, you want to build trust, right? Have these short conversations to build that trust first. And then third, you make that ask. Now, the way you want to think about your ask is like how big of your ask, right? There's a difference between asking someone, can you help me get a job at your company versus could I learn more about your experience working here or gain some insights on what they're looking for, right? It's much easier for someone to say yes when it's sharing about their experience, sharing advice versus referring you, endorsing you. That's the next level. So in order to get to that stage, you first have to have that fundamental of trust and likability and credibility built first. If you don't have that, asking for the bigger favor of them endorsing you, introducing you to the hiring manager or the recruiter would be harder because their reputation is on the line there. Okay, so I hope that is helpful. You really want to think about how do you want to make them feel and how much time are you asking from them there. Okay. If anyone wants to share like what has worked well for them, that'll be great. I have seen some of my clients where they just craft some really what I call like warm, friendly outreach messages, whether through email or LinkedIn email there. It is more about them than about you. right? Focusing on what you want to learn from about them first, then about you getting a job, right? I know it takes time, but this is part of, showcasing interest and curiosity there. Okay. All right. So let me see what other questions. There were two more questions that were submitted. Anonymously here is what methods to market your new service-based business. So this person is looking to start their new business and they want to know how to market themselves to get business. That is a great question. So when you're first starting out, you may feel there's a lot to do. And one of the things I always talk about is that you don't necessarily need a website to start your business or to get new business, right? A big part is you, right? What's really important, though, I think, is one, is you really need to get clear on who your ideal clients are. Who are you serving? Understanding what are their pain points, what is it that they're trying to achieve, like what's that transformation that they want, right? By understanding that, doing this whole analysis, it's going to then help you come up with your offering, right? So getting really clear on your offer out there. What is it that you really offer to this business, this person there as a service-based business, okay? And it's getting really clear on that. Like one of the common mistakes that I see or challenges I see when people come down, like they're having trouble getting business is, definitely it's like either lack of marketing or lack of sales or lack of a clear offering out there. And so you really want to have a clear call to action in terms of what you offer. I would first start with, going back to starting with your warm network. People make an announcement post or an email that you are starting your new business. What are you excited about? Who is it that you serve? What is it that you offer? Have a call to action for them to learn more if they're interested, right? Just having like announcement posts be good. For me, like having like that ongoing marketing is important. So this is a combination of whether it's email marketing or social media marketing, right? So one is building your email list as you continue to grow. You want to nurture your audience there. So having some sort of free offering, free opt-in, free training, whatever that is for them to opt in there. The other is the social media. So this is where you want to identify which channels you want to play on. Right. And in order to think about that is I like to think about like where's your ideal audience? Where do they really hang out? So for me, a lot of my ideal client is on LinkedIn, hence why I really double down on using LinkedIn for other social media channels. Like I have Instagram, but it's more like behind the scenes for me. I also have YouTube as well, which is great to have as like my videos are there. But majority of my clients who hire me, I've noticed it's majority from LinkedIn, some from YouTube as well. And so therefore, I really spend more time on that. And so this is where content creation comes in, creating content. And this is where you have to identify what type of content do you want to create. Is it videos? Is it text? Is it images? Whatever that is, there's no right or wrong way to do it. You just have to identify what works for you. For me, when I think back 10 years ago, when I first started my business, so this was 10 years ago, I started with more writing blog posts like on my website. And like to this day now, I have about 200 blogs posts on my website. I haven't updated as much the last several years because I focus more on social media. But when I first started, I did write a lot of blog posts and it helped with SEO, the search engine optimization, like with being found on Google. And I remember it took a good 6 to 9 months to really optimize it to be able to get found there. So that's something I started. And then I started sharing my blog posts on LinkedIn. And then it wasn't until 2018, after, I had my second child, I started creating videos more actively. I literally record videos on my iPhone with a tripod in my car because I was driving my kid around while he was napping. I would create these short video clips about, a tip on a topic. So one of my niche areas is on networking. So I created this like 10 videos on like networking tips. They were only like 2 minutes long. And that's really how things got started for me there. Another, it depends on what you do, is for me is I'm a coach. I'm also a speaker. So I actually got started with speaking. I did about 50 speaking engagements in my first year, even though I was working full time as well. Like I was doing a lot of speaking gigs, giving back. So really increasing that visibility will help you get more opportunities as well there. Okay, so that's something to think about. So hope those ideas will help for those who are looking to start their business to get more opportunities. I have a formula that I've been talking a lot about how to stand out to get more opportunities. This applies whether you are looking for a full-time job or looking to grow your business. So this is something I've been talking about the last few years, is that to get more opportunities, you want to increase your visibility, which is really like the networking, being on social media, having that presence there. You want to increase your credibility, which is having that great reputation, great track record of success, getting great testimonials, getting referrals. That's going to give you credibility. And then you want to increase your marketability, which is like optimizing your LinkedIn profile, mastering your elevator pitch, having a great resume. That all is going to help you with increasing your marketability there. And then lastly is increasing your likability. So this is really that warmth factor, the relationship building, the communication skills. When you work on all these 4 areas, you will stand out and get more opportunities. So I hope this is helpful. This is whether you're looking for a full-time job or looking to get more opportunities. If you work on these 4 areas, you're going to notice increase in opportunities there. Okay. The other thing to really think about, and this is why I think about networking referrals, is that you want to build a brand and reputation where you're known for something. So to this day, like even though I left a company that when I first started in undergrad, like this was over 10 years ago, like 14 years ago now, I still get referrals from colleagues I used to work with back over a decade ago. And it's really because I've built this brand and reputation where I'm known for helping people make career transitions, landing jobs. And to this day, I still get referrals working with people from either mid-level all the way to C-level clients there. It's because of that passion of mine of helping people and building, helping them land new jobs, and you get referral opportunities. So be known for something, like be known for something that you want to serve and be really great at it. Do a great job so that you have this track record of success and testimonials. Okay, so the follow-up question to this that this person asked is, how do you juggle in transitioning from a full-time job to running your own business? This is such a great question. So I'm sure there are some of you who are considering starting their own business when you're in a full-time job that you're seeing right now, especially with like e-commerce or having an online business is something that you may be very interested in. So the big part here is really what it is: time management, and be able to set really these milestones and goals for yourself of what do you want to achieve in, let's say, 3 months, 6 months, and a year, right? What is it, that proof, the evidence that you want to have to know, or to give you that trust, or that knowing that you're ready to commit full time. Okay, so just to give you some context, I started my business when I lost my job 10 years ago. Okay, I was laid off. I got a couple months of severance. This was 2 months before my wedding there. And so I knew I was going to start my business. It was just a matter of when. I was going to wait till after my wedding, but it just happened sooner. So I started within a week that I lost my job. And then within a month later, I got a full-time offer with Google as a recruiter for Google Canada for a 1-year contract there. And I was at this crossroads where, well, I just started my business and I just got this full-time offer. What do I do? And so the way I changed my perspective of looking at it is that instead of thinking it was a full-time job, I saw it as like my first business client, meaning I got this first contract as a 1-year recruiter to learn how to recruit for the top 5% of the talent in the Canadian market here. And that was really what launched my business, of having worked at a company like Google, where really understanding how a top employer recruits gave me also the credibility for speaking engagements, and also led to me getting new clients and getting like interview coaching, resume help, career transitioning type of support there. So that's how I started. So during that 1-year contract I was working, I was still coaching, but I was only taking a handful of clients just because I was full-time. And so this is where you need to understand your capacity. Like realistically, how many hours can you put into this side hustle of yours right now, right? To be realistic with that. And then from there, think about, well, how much money can I make with this side hustle? And then you essentially want some proof, right? After 3 months, 6 months, or 1 year, have you been getting consistent business or consistent inquiries there? If you have, that should be a sign or indicator that you're on the right track. And a big part, I'm going to tell you, like you're always going to feel like you're not ready. I'm going to tell you that. You're always going to feel you're never ready. For me, I was still thinking after my 1 year at Google, do I go look for another full-time job so that I can be really ready to start my business? And I was actually offered a full-time job with LinkedIn as a relationship manager. And I was at this crossroad thinking about, do I continue this full-time path that I've been on and having the side hustle, or do I go all in my business there? And so this is where coaching comes in, right? I had a friend who really coached me through, what is it that I truly want? What's going to be truly fulfilling for me? Is it really the money, or is it the fulfillment? And it was really clear to me it was the fulfillment that I wanted more of. And so I decided to go all in my business. And by that time, like that 1 year in, I've already done over 50 speaking engagements. I've already had leads and inquiries of people inquiring there. And I was already doing a lot of, I was getting a lot of more inquiries from like students and new grads. I started off coaching younger people, entry-level roles, to now really moving my way up to coaching more senior C-level executives there. Okay. So I hope that is helpful. It was a bit of a long-winded answer, but I think that there's really no right answer. Like you have to think of like, what's your objective? Like, what are those indicators for you that will make you feel comfortable and confident to take the plunge there? Okay. I know for those who've done it, like I see some of my friends who've done it, when I talk to them, they're like, oh, I wish I did this sooner, or I wish I just had more courage or confidence to move in that direction there. Now, I'm not going to lie, starting a business is a lot of work, right? You are wearing multiple hats, right? Like for me, I'm a coach, I'm a speaker, I'm a business owner, I do sales, I do marketing, I do administrative stuff as well. I write my posts. There's a lot. Like I have a VA, virtual assistant that helps out as well. But there's a multiple hats that you have to wear. And so it's really important to ask yourself, like, are you willing to do all aspects of that in business, or do you just want to delegate and have someone to help you out there? Okay. Okay, so I hope this was helpful. I think that was all the questions. Any questions here? Yes, can you have 2 jobs at the same time? Trying to ask, yes, you can, right? It depends on how you see it, right? You probably can't have 2 full-time jobs. You can have maybe 1 full-time job and 1 part-time job, or 2 part-time jobs. Absolutely. It goes back to your time commitment, your time management as well, and how much you can juggle. I would say these days that I don't say it's common, but I'm definitely seeing more people who have these passions or side projects they're interested in, right? That you have this full-time work and you're thinking about something else. You want to test out the waters, or you want to sell something online. Absolutely. Go check it out, right? I feel like, to be honest, right now, if you're thinking of like an online business, the barrier of entry is really low. 10 years ago, or even 5 years ago, to set up a website or hire a designer, it was pretty expensive, I would say. Like I think I've paid like 10, 20,000 like dollars back in the day to set up a lot of things. These days, there's so many amazing tools for like a few $100s a month, like to set up your e-commerce website. And it's a lot of like click and drop type of things to design. Like I have a website right now that I operate on Kartra, which essentially runs my website, my email management, my e-commerce, and everything. And it's highly intuitive. Like I migrated over to that last year, and it's so easy now to create tools like this and to test out offers. So if you're considering starting a business, and if it's low barrier to entry, low risk, low investment, there's really nothing to lose, right? It's definitely the time and a bit of that research, and definitely a lot of like marketing sales there. All right. Okay, so for those who are here, was this helpful today? What are some of your takeaways? Tell me in the chat, like, what are your key takeaways from today's live? I hope this was helpful. This is something I want to do to give back this holiday season there. Really hope you found this helpful there. Okay, so if you are interested in working with me one-on-one coaching, if you're looking to figure out what to do next, or you want to land a job in the new year, or you need help with getting clear on your brand, your unique value proposition, or acing your interviews, or how to negotiate your salary, feel free to book a time with me for a free consultation call. I am currently accepting clients for the new year there. Typically, I work with mid to senior level clients in career transition. who are in either like business type of roles such as sales, marketing, operations, supply chain, tech, engineering, accounting, analytics, all sorts. I've worked with various professions in multiple industries as well, in tech, financial services, consulting, retail, CPG, and many, many more. If you're looking for that support, especially looking to get into these top companies, competitive roles, I will love to support you. Let's have a chat. Something I'm really proud of this year is I have supported many senior level clients in pivoting industries, pivoting careers, and be able to really increase their salaries. Many of my clients have been making 5 figures more than before. Like 20K, 40K, or 80K, or some even like 6 figures as well. So my senior executive level clients. Actually, speaking of that, I do want to share a quick story like that I was really proud of. I didn't get to share this story with you here. Yeah, one of my client, recently executive client in finance, landed a next level role with a 6 figure salary increase after being at the same company for 11 years. So this person hasn't really looked for a job in like a decade and wasn't really sure how to get started. So we started working together earlier this summer to really help position himself by really getting clear on his brand, his value prop, what he's targeting, optimizing all his like marketing documents, practicing his interview messages, and he landed this great opportunity, manage a huge team, next level role through networking. And I'm so proud to see this client be able to really have a significant increase in salary as well there. And so really the ROI is there that I'm seeing. Like a lot of my clients are really getting that ROI, like return on investment by investing in coach. One is building your confidence, getting clarity, becoming more competitive, and be able to get results faster and better results as well. So if you are interested in getting that support, feel free to book a consultation call with me. I would love to chat with you to see if we're a good fit. Now, if you're looking to get more affordable resources, I do have a resource for you as well. Feel free to check out Job Search Journey as well for affordable resources. There are many guides and videos. I'm part of it there where you can look up my store called My Markability. I have some very affordable resources right now that are 40% off on how to answer behavioral questions, how to answer motivation questions, how to get hired, like some of the effective job search strategies, how to master your glowing introduction, which is one of my signature course that hundreds of people have gone through. So if you're interested in just getting some quick help, I recommend checking out Job Search Journey as well for some of these affordable resources. All right. So who else is still here with me? I see some of you are still here. Oh my goodness. I've talked for over an hour and a half today. Andrea, you're still here. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. Thank you, Diana. Your gift to the working world is so very great. Now hang up your mic and prepare for Christmas time. Rest, relax, play, have fun. I will be taking some time off. I am going to be taking some time off as of December 16th for the two weeks of December there. That is my plan. So I'm so glad I was able to host this live stream today, very last minute. I hope that you found this helpful. Feel free to share it with anyone who could benefit from it. And I just want to say I am so grateful for all of you for really tuning in, for your support, for your kind words, for messaging me as well. I'm all about paying it forward, giving back, and really making a difference. Like for me, I really just want to see people do well. I want to see people reach their full potential, doing what they love and making a difference in this world. So I hope this show really resonated with you today and that you got a lot of value. So happy holidays, wishing you a warm, fulfilling, and joyful holiday season with your family and loved ones. Cheers. Take care, everyone.